a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1960. Hang on, what did I call this one? Giving thanks for our ancestors. That's right, it's Thankful Thursday, so we're giving thanks for our ancestors. Sorry, on here it cuts up here in the corner, it cuts off the title of the thing, so I have to go to my notes to figure out what I called tonight. Sometimes I forget, like tonight. But anyway, so we're going to look at giving thanks to our ancestors in different ways, and different ways that we can find information about them. So let's get started. Let's see. We have, I've got to go down here. Community connections. So you can be grateful for community connections. There are genealogical societies, there's online forums, there's local archives that support research, and hooking up with these types of organizations and there's associations and societies and all sorts out there. I'm going to give you a few examples tonight of some of the ones that you can have a look at. But these are places that you can go to. They have discussion boards. They have places where you can ask for assistance if you're looking at a certain document. You know, like there's several Facebook groups that I belong to that have to do with ancestry and genealogy and everything else. And there's a lot of times people are posting a photograph, an image of part of a death certificate or a marriage certificate, some sort of certificate. And they say, can you help me decipher, where they're asking for help to decipher handwriting? That's one way that we can be grateful for assistance. The other way is that if you are daughter of the American Revolution, sons of the American Revolution, those ones also have different societies, but you can also get involved with the communities that they have as well, and the different ways that they volunteer within their own communities and some of the things that they do. But if you can prove that you're a daughter of the American Revolution or a son of the American Revolution, they've got a great society going, and a lot of genealogy is shown in their sites. You can go and look up people who have submitted genealogy in order to prove that they are a descendant of somebody from the American Revolution, and you can look up those trees and see them. And I've found some that connect with my in-laws tree. So I know that stuff there's been verified, but has my stuff up to that point been verified? So that's and it's like I've been telling my boys and my nieces and nephews that I've figured out where the connection is. I just need somebody to double check my work to make sure that I've got it correct, and then they're open to go and submit their stuff for the Sons of the American Revolution or Daughters of the American Revolution. You can also have got the Mayflower Society. That is for descendants of the people that came over on the Mayflower, but also too, there are subgroups to the Mayflower descendants, and on the Mayflower website, you can actually find some of these. Others, you have to go and look for them. One of my mother-in-law is supposedly, we're still working on the proof of that, but we're pretty confident it's pretty accurate, but we're still working on proving it and making sure that what's out there is correct. But she is supposed to be the 9th great-granddaughter of Richard Warren, who was one of the people on the Mayflower. And there is a society that's called the Cousins of Richard Warren, which is basically all the descendants of Richard Warren can get together, and they've got their own little club thing going there, and you can go in there and you can ask for assistance in there and with research. And some of the other people who are on, it might be the descendants of this person or the cousins of this person, but each of the people who were on the Mayflower that you can track back to have their own kind of area where you can go off and you can join those particular ones. There's also last names that you can do, or clans. Like I'm a lifetime member of Clan Ross of America. I descend from the Ross clan in Scotland, and so I belong to the Clan Ross of America. And I meet up with some of the people who belong to that clan when I go to the Scottish Highland Games. They may have a tent set up there with history of the Ross clan, and they're showing you who some of the famous people are from the Ross clan, some of the accomplishments that they've done, that people have done within Clan Ross, and things like that. So you get to learn some of the history of Clan Ross. Apparently, we even have our own whiskey as well. Who knew? Brand I'd never heard of, but apparently we came up with that particular brew of, I don't even know what you call it, distillery of of whiskey? I don't know. I don't drink Scotch whiskey, bourbon. I don't drink, period. So I have no clue. I just know there is a lot of distilleries in Scotland, because I once had a client who called up when I was doing travel. I once had a client call up and go, I want to do a tour of Scotland and the distilleries. I go, okay, you do realize there's over 800 of them in Scotland, don't you? Which ones do you want? He had no clue. I actually have a book on all the distilleries in Scotland at the time it was published, and it's like a good, 2 inches thick. It's a very interesting read. I learned a lot about the Scotch whiskey and all that sort of thing. You also have descendants of a country, like you've got the Irish Americans, you've got the descendants of British, and I was looking up some of these earlier. Let's see, they've got where did it go? Was it this one? Where is it? Oh, it's not that page. It must be on this one. You've got Daughters of the British Empire, which is a 501c3 here in the States. It's an American society of women of British and Commonwealth of Nations birth of or ancestry. I can definitely get membership into that one. That is not a problem for me. There is also, where was it? There was this one, and I absolutely cracked up laughing when I saw the name of it. Oh, where did it go? Where is it? I'm just going back on the list that I've got here. You've got, the International Society for British Genealogy and Family History. You've got there it is, Royal Bastards. Yep, there is a society called Royal Bastards. And to qualify for that site, oh, here it is. Members this was very interesting. I went and read it, and it says the descendants of illegitimate sons and daughters of the kings of Britain. So you have to prove that you are an illegitimate child, an illegitimate descendant of one of the kings of Britain in order to get your place within the Royal Bastard Society. I kid you not. That's the name of it. .org. So you get some fun ones in there, and so I thought that one was kind of fun. So there's different things that different societies and things. Back over to my list. Where's my list? So you also got one name studies as well. Like Scantlebury is a one name study, and that's my second great grandmother was a Scantlebury. And so I've met other descendants from the Scantlebury clan, the Scantlebury family. It's a very large family. And I have to say that Richard Scantlebury has done a phenomenal job on the website that he has for Scantleburys. And you can just go and search by one name study and put the last name there and see if there's somebody's doing a one name study. These ones, as soon as the names change, they may stop the research at that point. So if you've got a daughter, last name Scantlebury, and she goes and gets married, then they may stop that. Although I'm like, this is my second great grandmother, so he continued down the line because he wasn't sure what had happened with my second great grandmother. So I filled in the gaps for him, and he was able to put that in the thing that she got married, and she actually got married twice, and this was her first husband. She had 5 children by him, with 3 surviving, I think it was. And then she got married again and had another 6 children, I think it was. I don't know. I've got to go back. There's so many numbers in my head. So those are other ones that you can get to. You can, and sometimes those one name studies have communities. Like on Facebook, Richard has a community set up for the Scantleburys where we can go on and talk and chit and chat and find out more information about our descendants and all of that. I think it's Bermuda. We have a huge contingency of Scantleburys in Bermuda. I think it's Bermuda. Might be Bahamas. It's one of those B ones over in the area of the Atlantic Ocean over there. So there's different things. So look up by your ancestry. If you're of German descent, have a look and see if there's German Americans. Have a look to see if there's Irish Americans. There's definitely a lot of Irish American ones out there. Some of the ones of the British Empire, descendants of the British Empire, but they may not just include England. They may also include Wales and Scotland and Ireland. So you got to look at that. If you're a descendant from Scandinavian countries, have a look for that society. There's a ton of societies out there based on culture, country, one name studies, clans, clan type places, families. So there's so many different societies out there that can help. And even you've got even the regional ones as well. Like I'm a member of the Family Historical Society for Huntingdonshire, which no longer exists, is now part of Cambridge. But back in the day when Huntingdonshire County existed, my descendants lived in there. So I belong to the War Boys, I think it is, Facebook group. There's a Facebook group for War Boys for the Family History Society. And so I can learn more about that area that my descendants lived and where they came from and things like that. Learn a bit of the history about the area, some of the things that my family was involved in, because they lived in the manor house, which was one of the larger houses in the I don't know how many other large houses they had in the thing, but this one was a mansion of the time. So I don't know how many other places were like that within War Boys. But my family would have been, my descendants would have been, my ancestors would have been a prominent family in that community. So what other information can I learn about them and the place that they lived in? So finding places like these is a great way to learn more about your ancestors, where they came from, learn a little bit more about their story. If they were founding members of a county, you can definitely learn more about their story if they were founding members of the county as well. So there's a ton of stuff, and you might be surprised at what you find in these places too, which we talk about that one later on. We'll come back to that. So the community connections, be grateful for community connections where you're able to go and talk to people who have a similar background to you, are from a similar location. Maybe they even share ancestry with you through the clans that you belong to, the families that you belong to, descendants of this particular people, people who were born from this country and moved over here. There's all sorts of things. Another way is unexpected finds. And this is finding the things like hidden records, DNA matches, and be grateful for how they've brought joy or meaning to your research. You know, it could be in the DNA matches. You might be surprised who you're connected to through DNA. That's always a fun thing. And the hidden records, you might find those through one of the societies or organizations that we were just talking about under the community connections. So because some of them may even have records that date back to your ancestors' times that you didn't even know existed. You know, it could be newspaper articles that aren't available online. It could be journals. It could be letters. It could be deeds, trusts, wills, birth certificates, death. You know, some societies do have copies of birth certificates, death certificates, and marriage certificates. They've got the main three covered. New Zealand calls it birth, deaths, and marriages, the BDMs, birth, deaths, and marriages. I don't know why they go birth, death, marriage instead of birth, marriage, death. I don't know. But anyway, you've got those that you can be grateful for too. You can honor forgotten ancestors. You know, there's ways that you could maybe commemorate your ancestors whose stories may have been overlooked or forgotten. Finding these stories and bringing them to light again is a way of honoring them by creating a memorial or writing a tribute to them and sharing their story with the rest of the family, sharing their story on your website, on your blog, podcast, newsletters. So it's just taking that information and honoring a forgotten ancestor by finding their information, finding their story, and telling their story. There's always a good way to do that. You could show appreciation for family narratives. You may have a few storytellers in your ancestry. I come from a line of storytellers on my dad's side, most definitely. But I've always appreciated the fact that they would sit there and share these stories. Unfortunately, at the time, I was too young to even think about getting out my cassette recorder and putting a tape in there and recording what was being said. I didn't know about that at the time. Yes, I'm talking cassettes like the little thingies about yay long and about yay wide that have a spool of tape on this side, and they go over to the spool over here and you stick it into a cassette player. And half of you are going to go, what? Yeah, it's okay. Trust me, it's okay. So you've got these oral histories, which are so, so important. Be grateful that you've got people around that can share these oral histories, get them recorded, get them transcribed, so that they can be passed down to generations. Because when that generation's gone with those stories, who's going to be left to tell them? Are you? Do you remember those stories? Best way to do it, get them recorded, either just on a digital recorder, on video. You can even just use your phone for the video, voice recording only. You can use your phone to do a video. You can have somebody else there to do the video so that it's not intrusive, and just get them to tell the stories. oftentimes you can just put your phone on the table and have it recording and nobody's the wiser. But, find a way to transcribe these so that you can honor the stories of your ancestors. And some of them might sound a little far-fetched. So guess what? Make yourself a hypothesis, and then go and test it and see what truth is there to those stories that have been passed down through generations. Because sometimes when they get passed down from generations, they get a little lost in translation. Think of the game Chinese Whispers you used to play as a kid, where you would somebody would whisper the initial sentence into your ear, you'd then whisper it onto the next person, and it would go to the next person. And then what this person was originally told and what the last person gets told are two totally different things. So the same with oral history. Things will change as time goes, and the story gets made bigger and bolder. So your job as the family historian is to go back and verify that story. What was the true story behind that story that you have heard over and over again? But be grateful for the fact that that story is still around, even though it may be changed from the original, but you have enough information from there to be able to go back and research to see how true it was and things like that. Be grateful for the gift of modern technology. You've got AI coming out, and AI in genealogy. Now, I'm still learning how AI is affecting genealogy. I do know you can take a bunch of information that you've got on one person and get AI to organize it for you, like put it into a timeline, maybe do a comparison. Like if you've got a spreadsheet set up and it's a very detailed spreadsheet, you could get it to do comparisons between the two profiles. If you've got, 2 or 3 people listed and you've got all their dates and stuff on there, and maybe you're sort of like, this is getting a little overwhelming, copy that, stick it into AI and see if it can sort it out for you. I'm still testing it out. It's kind of interesting. You've got digital archives. You've got all of the stuff that's been digitized. Now, remember, the documents that are available online only account for maybe 5%, more likely less than 5% of all available documentation that's out there for research and everything else is available online. That's a lot. When you think of the millions and millions of records that are available online, and that represents less than 5% of all available records out there. Did I just blow your mind with that one? So be grateful for the ones that are digital, that you can go in and you can do the research there. If you're on like familysearch.org, go to their research wiki, put in the place you're going to be researching, and it will give you hints and tips down the side there. Like say, I want birth certificates. It will tell you how to obtain the birth certificates, or if you can obtain the birth certificates, the marriage ones, the death ones, any records that you want to obtain. It's down there on the side. Just click on them and it tells you whether it's available online or if you have to go in person, and who can go in person and apply for that information. And then genealogy apps. I haven't researched all the genealogy apps. The one that I have on my phone that I use the most is Ancestry, and I have it linked to my online Ancestry account so that it's always getting updates and things, because a lot of times I'm out with family and somebody that we're out with will ask me a question about one of our ancestors or something, and I'm like, hang on, give me a second, and I pull up the app on my phone and I can go and type in the name of the person they're looking for, and I can then give them the information. So it's always good to have it on at your fingertips. I have to look to see what other apps are out there, because that's basically the only one I'm worried about right now. But I know that there is more out there. But it definitely does mean that you can carry it in your pocket with you on your phone, and you can pull it up and you can give the information as needed. You can use your phone to record conversations about family members, or stories being told. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with your phone just with the apps that you have on there. And I'm actually going to go and do some more research on some of the apps, because I haven't thought about that one for a long time, and putting it on my list today. So yeah, I need to go research some more of those. So also too, be grateful and celebrate genealogical achievements. Reflect on the milestones in your family history journey, such as solving a long-standing mystery or completing a family tree branch. Like you've got all the kids, you've got like, here's your second great grandparents, here's all their kids. This is what we've got the information on. We've got all the siblings in there, we've got all their wives in there, we've got all their kids in there, and maybe we'll go down another level on that one. So you decide when that branch of the family is done. But just remember, somebody from that sub branch of the family may have a DNA match to you, and you've got to dig a little deeper. So always keep that in mind too. pay it forward. You can be grateful for what you have learned by paying it forward and helping others with their genealogical research, like sharing tips or resources. It could be that you're in one of these societies, organizations, family thingies that we talked about, one of the communities that we talked about first. You could be in one of those, and somebody said, "Look, I've been looking for this particular person." Da 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 da. And you can start going, "Okay, what information have you found? Have you looked here? Have you looked there?" And start coming up with some ideas on places that they can maybe find information. That's sharing tips, sharing resources, and it will have a ripple effect of gratitude, because you just tell the person, "Oh, thank you so much. I owe you so much." And no, pay it forward. So help somebody else. Pay it forward. Pay it forward. You can also show gratitude by focusing on the present. Yes. Be thankful for the family that you have, and capture their current stories for future generations. So that's just being present with those people, asking them questions about their life, what they know of their ancestors, as well as always a good thing as too, how they met their spouse, what was their romance, what was their courtship like, and from when they met to when they got engaged to when they got married, what was their wedding like? Who else in their family, were they attendants in anybody else's wedding party? What was that like? What was their wedding like? Ask questions, just ask questions, being focused in the middle. You've got cultural and heritage celebrations, and you can express gratitude by exploring your ancestral traditions, festivals, or food they tried, and tie it all to their family heritage and things. If you come from Italy, do you know how to make pasta the real way? Not just make pasta, but make real pasta the real Italian way. Do you know how to do that? Do you know how to make a pizza the correct Italian way? Things like that. So look up. Where did you come from? Is there traditional food dishes that they have at certain times of the year for different festivals? What are some of the festivals that they celebrate? Why are you not celebrating those festivals? Maybe if you go into some of these cultural communities where they have like Irish Americans, you might have Dutch Americans, you may have African Americans. So you're going into their culture. What festivities within their culture has been passed down through generations, and what can you learn from those cultural events? And what type of food did they have? Did they have certain foods that they ate at certain times of the year based on the festival that was going on? Find those traditions. Find the traditions and honor them. Honor the traditions. And when you honor the traditions, you're showing gratitude for your ancestors who came before you. And be thankful for persistence. Be grateful for persistence. Always persist, 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 persist. There's going to be brick walls that get thrown up in front of you. You're going to get places where you think you're at a dead end. Always go back. Always keep checking on those dead ends, because technology changes. New records are coming online. And if you're part of different organizations and societies and part of communities, maybe somebody in that community holds the key that unlocks that wall or removes that wall for you. Technology is always changing. Maybe there's technology coming that's going to be able to scan different documents a lot faster or in a different way. Maybe there's always stub records coming online. So keep going back. With my clients, even if I'm no longer working on their tree, there's times I will go back in, especially if there's just one key piece of information that you're looking for. Wonder if that's available online now. So go and have a look and check up on it. And if you find it, send it to them. Yeah, if you find that key piece of information, send it to them so that they have it. So those are just some of the ways that you can be, you can give thanks for your ancestors. What am I doing today? Yeah, give thanks to your ancestors, just by acknowledging who they are and acknowledging the culture that they came from, the traditions that have been passed down, the stories that have been passed down, being able to join the different organizations and communities and societies and everything else that's out there related to some part of your heritage, whether it's daughters or sons of the American Revolution, whether it's descendants of the Mayflower, whether it's daughters of the British Empire, whether it's, I wonder if they have sons of the British Empire. They may do. But anyway, go, if it's a one-name study, if, let's see what else is out there. If you belong to a clan, And the clan could either be Scottish or Irish. The Irish had clans as well, but they had another name for it, and I can't think of what it was. But they have something that was similar to clans as well. So maybe you belong to one of those clans. Maybe those clans have an organization here in the States or in the country that you're at. I love going to the Scottish Highland Games. I am very tied to my Scottish roots, more than I am my English roots and my Cornish roots. And but I just seem to relate better to my Scottish roots, even though I don't have my DNA doesn't show a lot of Scottish in me, which is funny. That's absolutely hilarious. At one point it was 25%. And then over time, as technology has come in more, samples have been tested and everything else. And, they go back and retest every now and again, do these massive updates to your DNA results and everything else. My Scottish portion has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. And other areas have started showing up, like Scandinavian countries are now showing up, but they sort of come and go. They're like around the 2 to 5%, and they sometimes are there, sometimes they're not. I've definitely got the English in there. I've got a little bit of Welsh showing up in there now. Cornish has always been there. I have a very strong connection to the Cornish community, to the Cornish area of England, which is not technically part of England as far as I understand it. Cornwall is like the Cornwall area is a little bit like Wales. It's its own little country that's attached to Britain, England. I think that's kind of how it works. You know how Scotland and Wales and Cornwall, yeah, because they actually do have a DNA that says whether or not you're Cornish from Cornwall in England. So they have their own things. But finding out, the communities that you come from. It's a great big world out there. There's so much out there. There's a lot of information out there that you can find if you know where to look. And sometimes when you belong to a community, they can help you uncover resources that you hadn't thought of before, and you may find some surprises in there. Maybe you had an uncle, one of the black sheep, members of your ancestors that ran away to the circus. Maybe you have some that you find out were underage when they enrolled in the military to go and fight in one of the wars that have taken place over the centuries. You won't know until you go look and find things. So yeah. So that's another thing too. If you are looking at military records and you know that your great-grandfather was born on a certain date, and you know that military record that you found is definitely him, but there's a discrepancy on the years, do the math. You've got his birth certificate, do the math. How old was he when he enlisted into the army during World War I or World War II? And could it be that his birth date that is on his military record is one that he gave, so they didn't know that he was underage? So when you're looking at military records, always be aware of something like that where your ancestor may have been a little too young to join the military, but they lied about their age to get in. And of course, at that time, they had no computers to go and look it up or anything else. So they had no way of knowing unless they had people bring along their birth certificates. But in those days, those could probably easily be forged as well. So there you go. So yeah, if you're looking at military records and you go, hang on, he's showing up as being born in that year, but I know that he was born in that year. I have a copy of his birth certificate. He's the right father's listed, the right mother may be listed, depending on whether they put their mother or their father as their next of kin. And those details are matching up. And you're like, but his birth date's out. He was probably too young to sign up. So he he gave a false birth date. May have given the same day and month, but he might have given a different year to make himself appear older. And yeah. So be on the lookout for little things like that. And with that, I am out of here. I believe we've got Nicole coming on tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific, and we are going to be looking at, she's going to do 3 home remedies that you can do during cold and flu season, and I'm looking forward to those. So we will catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Have a super fantastic, sparkling evening.